going to call to order the Thursday, April 11th, 2024, Hermosa Beach Parks Recreation and Community Resources Advisory Commission meeting. Item 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Yanni, think you can do that for us?
Absolutely. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Kaylin, roll call.
Chair Maroney,
Here.
Vice Chair Lang,
Here.
Commissioner Ellman,
Here.
Commissioner Pizer-Maines,
Here.
Commissioner Horowitz.
Here.
Item 4, announcements. Any of my fellow commissioners have an announcement they'd like to make?
Yes. I just would like to remind everybody that the Hermosa schools are having 2 informational nights, one on Thursday, April 11th, and the other on Monday, I believe that's the 16th. It will be about improving our schools for 2024 and 2025, and just an informational evening about a number of things. And I have found that for myself, once my children left the school district, I sort of found other things to do, or I moved on to the next school. And I've found that I have not kept up. So I'm looking forward to the information, and I hope that other people will too. Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Yes, I do. I'm super stoked to let everybody know that on Saturday the 27th, we'll be celebrating 20 years of the Surfers Walk of Fame induction. This year we are honoring Greg Browning and Mike Balzer, as well as David Nueva. Ceremony starts Friday at 11 a.m. Down at the base of the pier, immediately preceded by the Spider Surf Fest. There will be a ton of great bands, and the surf industry's best brands will be down there giving away free stuff. To backtrack a little bit, Friday the 26th, we will have the kickoff party at the Historical Society and the theater, partnering with the South Bay Board Riders, who will be hosting the South Bay Surf Awards and Big Wave Challenge. And this year, the Board Riders have received the most submissions ever because of the amazing winter we had. Some of the biggest surf and best waves ridden. So please come out to Friday, April 26th, as well as April 27th. And on Sunday, South Bay Board Riders, I know I'm doing this backwards, sorry. And then Sunday, South Bay Board Riders are hosting a surf contest south side of Hermosa Pier. So 3 days of surfing fun. Thank you.
Lauren? No? Tracy? I would just say, Yanni, that was one of the most fun activities I did last year, which is that Friday night pre-induction.
Oh, you don't even know about this year then.
Okay.
Just wait.
And then I would just put in a plug for the South Bay Parkland Conservancy, which is still out there plugging away on our green belt. They got a couple of more years to go. The manpower is done totally by volunteers, and they need them. You'll either be planting or weeding, and they can certainly use the help. It's usually twice a month on a Saturday. They're now doing Thursday afternoons too, but you can go to their website and find it. And then do I go to Kaylin for the future city events? Upcoming city events?
I actually will go ahead and take the lead on narrating the slideshow. Okay, so good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. This month we have a lot of events here in our city. We have 12 different special events, as you can see listed on your slide, including ongoing events that happen throughout the year, including the AAU Southern Grand Prix Series, which are volleyball tournaments, the Redondo Union High School volleyball matches, beach tennis tournaments, the CBVA volleyball tournament, and the sidewalk sale, and the dates listed on the slide before you. And additionally, this month we have the State of the Art event on Saturday, April 20th, which is a fundraising event for the Indivisible Arts. And then we have the Rams Draft Experience from April 25th through May 2nd. So April 25th and 26th will include a stage with a draft viewing party and live music. And it will also include a football field on the south side of the pier. The same activities will happen the next day, the Friday, April 26th. And then the stage will be removed at the end of the day Friday, and the field will stay in place through that following Thursday. And the surf events that are on this slide, Yanni so wonderfully announced for us. So we can go ahead and move on to the next slide, which is just sharing our Surfers Walk of Fame weekend flyer, which encompasses all the weekend's events. And so we definitely are excited to celebrate, like Yanni said, our 20th year of the Surfers Walk of Fame. And congratulations to our inductees this year. Next slide. This month's excursion is the Food Around the World Tour in Los Angeles, and it's actually tomorrow on April 12th. Registration is actually now closed for this trip, and we have 33 enrolled to join us tomorrow. Next slide. This last slide lists the events taking place in our theaters, our community theater and our second story theater. So for more information on these productions, we encourage everyone to visit hermosabeach.gov/theater. We produce a calendar each month that gives a narrative on what the production actually is, where to get tickets, and the times for each of the productions. And this concludes my overview of the upcoming city events.
Any questions about those events?
I just wanted, for anyone that's listening, just clarification in terms of the Rams experience. As those are a lot of dates. So on what date are there going to be the community events on the field, in the sand? Because I know we added some
Yes.
dates there. And what dates are, and the dates with the stage, the stage presentations and all of that, and the draft picks. Are there going to be any sort of football activations on the field, or is it going to be just focused on the stage?
The field programming is going to take place on all of the event days, so that Thursday, April 25th through the following Thursday. The stage programming will only be Thursday, April 25th and Friday, April 26th. The stage will be removed at the end of the day Friday. There also will be activations on that Thursday and Friday on Schumacher Plaza and Pier Plaza, so interactive activities, Rams themed, that the community can partake in as
Right.
well.
And then wanted to ask again, so that we can get the information out there. Over the weekend, I know we have the Surfers Walk of Fame, but on the Sunday, are we doing any other further activations on Pier Plaza? Or is it
No.
solely on Thursday and
Only
Friday?
the field programming is going to stay in place past that Friday. So it's
Okay.
just going to be the south side of the pier field programming.
Okay. And then for Thursday and Friday, the start time, so people know?
So if you,
I think it was around 4 or something, right?
Yeah. So on Thursday it's 4:00, and on Friday it's 3:30. But that doesn't include the field programming. So if you go to our Instagram, HB Parks and Rec, there is actually a link to an official webpage for all the event-related information, because the event times are going to vary for the field programming each day.
Okay, very good. Well, I just, I know that there were some slight changes to it, and I just wanted to make sure that we got that out there to everybody. Thank you.
Anyone? All right, the next item, presentations, item 5, back to you.
Yes, it is. Tonight we have Sarah from the Hermosa Beach Education Foundation to provide the post-event presentation per the terms of their long-term agreement for the Hearts of Hermosa. So Sarah Kalin is going to go ahead and manage the presentation, so just let her know when she needs to advance to the next slide. Yes.
Thank you guys so much. I'm glad to be here. We had an incredible event, and I can't wait to tell you guys about it. So if we can go to the next slide. So here's just a breakdown of the event. So setup and the breakdown of it. All day, we had the use of the community center parking lot. So Friday, Saturday, and then breakdown Sunday morning. The parking lot reopened at noon. The actual event ended at 11 p.m. and everybody left by midnight except for the security guard that we had overnight. The event, we had approximately 550 guests, which was incredible. We were very excited we had that many people, considering how windy and the weather was not that great that day. So everyone came out and dressed to the nines. The event went from 6 and probably at 11. The gross revenue for the event was just over $383,000. Our expenses are at approximately $84,000, so we've raised almost $300,000 for HBEF for this event, so it was super successful. General feedback, the guests were really excited to attend. We had a lot of fun themed outfits. One of them I'll tell you a little bit about in the presentation, but people definitely came out decked to the nines. We had the highest total revenue ever for this event, which is really exciting. We had some mock casino tables, so we had 5 different casino tables, and people played and had a blast playing with fake play money. Overall, it was a great community celebration and fundraiser for our schools. You can go to the next slide. So this was our setup for the event. We did not have the outside garden area. We decided to get rid of that at the end. So the event was fully tented, and we had everything approved by Hermosa Beach Police Department, the LA County Fire Department, and our city department partners, you guys. Our vendors this year, a lot of the same vendors that we've been using in the past: Premier, G2, Vox, Tamika Martinez and her staffing company. And then this year we used EB Protection Agency, which was somebody that the chamber uses, the city and the chamber use a lot. So it was great to have them back. Next slide. So some of the community impacts, the event setup. So the lot was not accessible to the community Friday through Sunday during the day. There were some setup parking issues with the concurrent museum event that happened at the same time. So just a lot of people being confused on where they could park and not being able to park in the parking lot. And then Athens didn't arrive until almost 5 o'clock on Friday, when they should have been there at about 7 o'clock in the morning. During the event, the amplified sound notices were delivered to all the surrounding residences. So to my knowledge, there were no complaints filed. The one thing surrounding an outfit or a costume, I should say, that around 9 p.m., Hermosa Beach Police Department called me and said that there was a report of a man with a firearm and a holster. And turns out that security had checked him out, and it was just part of his costume, and checked out the firearm. And Hermosa Beach PD went up to him, looked at it, and said, "Okay, you're fine." And we went on with the event, so it was easy. Some post-event issues, just my recommendation that maybe a deep cleaning of the parking lot after the event, maybe some street sweeping, because there's only so much we can do with a couple of brooms. So maybe moving forward, that should be a part of the post-event. Next slide. So I just wanted to say thank you again to everybody. This was my first time chairing this event, and it was eye-opening and an amazing experience and very rewarding in the end. I want to read you guys a couple of stats. So again, this is the highest total revenue that we've ever had for this event, highest sponsorship revenue that we've ever had for this event, second highest silent auction revenue, and second highest total auction, silent and live revenue. So we're really excited and proud. So thank you guys for everything that you guys did. Anybody have any questions?
Questions, comments?
I have a question. I think it's more for Lisa. Is this the second time we've had, not a problem, but the museum having something going on at the same time? Or is this the first?
No, not to my knowledge. This is the first time, and it came to Sarah and I's attention pretty close to the event. So unfortunately, we kind of pivoted and tried to make it so that the museum would have a plan to make it as least impactful for the Hearts of Hermosa. It was definitely of concern. So this is something we're working out with the museum to make sure that they're not programming, because we have the next 2 years scheduled already because of the long-term agreement, that they know that they're not programming special events on that day. I know Jessica was involved too with that event. So I'm sorry, I shouldn't just say Jessica. Not everyone may know who Jessica is. I just assume that the president of the Chamber of Commerce. So she's going to help too, I think, make sure that that programming doesn't happen simultaneously.
Oh, good, because they're both really important groups, and I
Yes.
hate for someone not to have the perfect night for themselves. And again, I said it earlier, but thank you so much. An amazing group of people.
Thank you.
So congratulations. It's wonderful to hear of such a great and successful event. supporting our schools. So congratulations on that. A little disappointed you didn't have photos of the costumes to share with us tonight.
Oh, I should have put that in there. I'm
piqued our
sorry. I will send
interest.
them. I will send them to Lisa, and she can share them with you.
Okay. Fair enough. And then for Lisa, and just for consideration, I know it's been an issue, and we don't seem to do much in the way of valet parking in the city. But have we more recently explored some options with some of the neighboring property owners that own lots? Because it would solve so many problems for us when we have events like this.
It would really be up to the event producers to explore those
Yeah,
partnerships and secure the valet parking in
Okay.
planning for the event. Yeah.
Maybe if there's some guidance we could give them, who they need to go and reach out to.
Yeah. We haven't done it as a city for
Okay.
any events,
Right.
so it would really be starting from scratch and just seeing what was
Okay.
available. Yeah, we
Okay.
don't have many events in the parking lot that closed down all the parking there anymore. It really is our Hearts of Hermosa, and we do secure spots in front of our skate park for drop off and pickup, and that's worked out pretty well, I think, over the years. And it's to the point where I think most participants of the event know to either walk or Uber down. So it hasn't been
Right.
actually too much of a problem for the event attendees. I don't want to misspeak though, Sarah, so you could totally
Yeah, no,
correct me
I felt-
if I'm wrong.
Everybody
Yeah.
got
And-
there.
And we don't
Found a way.
program, we don't program the community center
Right.
when it's happening. So we don't have a need for parking for our community center users because there are no, because we
Right,
block it
right.
out. So it hasn't been an issue really for us.
Right, and then moving forward, I guess if we make sure that there's not the overlap, we'll
Yes,
avoid
exactly,
it.
with the
Okay.
museum.
Good.
Tracy, Yanni?
All I want to say is congratulations. I saw some photos on social media, and the costumes and the outfits were great.
Thank you.
What do you contribute to the success, like that you had so many more people and raised just
The team we had in place, the team this year was incredible. The women and men that just pulled us together. It's 100% volunteers, and our team was so strong.
it's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
again.
you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Item 6 is the Community Resources Manager report to Lisa.
Thank you, Chair Maroney. I would like to begin tonight's report with an update on the status of the Parks Master Plan work. The internal working group, which consists of Chair Maroney and Commissioner Ellman as our Parks Master Plan subcommittee members, held a meeting on February 20th to review the first draft of the Parks Master Plan, and we had many recommended edits and comments that were provided to RJM, the firm that is developing our Parks Master Plan, following that meeting, to have them address in the next draft that they would provide the internal working group. So to allow time for RJM to address these edits, comments, and to further clarify details throughout the plan, including further clarifying some of the recommendations, the joint meeting with the Public Works Commission, originally scheduled in March, needed to be postponed. But we are currently awaiting the next draft of the plan, and as soon as we have reviewed it and ensured the feedback was addressed and those clarifications were made in the recommendations and some other areas of the plan, we will go ahead and be rescheduling our joint meeting. The next update is regarding the Beach City Health District's free summer fitness series. As we have in years past, we will be partnering with them to provide free mindful yoga on the beach in May in awareness of Mental Health Awareness Month. So it will happen on the following Mondays, May 6th, May 13th, and May 20th. So just if anyone follows us on HB Parks and Rec or stays up to date with the city communications and the city calendar, we will have those events posted, those classes posted through all of those avenues with the times. Next, we'd like to share that we are essentially having a closeout sale of Surfers Walk of Fame t-shirts from previous years. Each year, we produce a shirt to honor that year's inductees, and we do have some extra inventory from previous years. I would call that vintage, like from our 10-year anniversary even. We have a few shirts left. So those are going to be available for sale at the Surfers Walk of Fame weekend events and at our community center offices at 710 Pier Avenue. So again, there's some pretty cool shirts in that inventory, like the year we honored the Beach Boys and you know, if you know anyone on the Surfers Walk of Fame, it's likely there may be one or two shirts left with their face on it. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. Next, we are very happy to share, I went too far in my notes here, excuse me, that we have installed some additional bike racks on Pier Plaza. So there are some additional racks on the northwest end, replacing the racks that used to be there, actually. Not as many. It's leaving, it's about half of what used to be there to leave space for special events, to use that area and Pier Plaza promotions, because that was essentially why those racks were removed. It was constantly to where our public works team had to uninstall them and reinstall them for events. But so we found an area that works to have some racks back in that area. And then we also have some installed at the northeast end. So this is providing additional space for up to 36 bikes. And we continue to scout out new locations to add more bike parking downtown. And last but certainly not least, I am honored to share some news about the community resources team. So first, our employee of the season in our department this year is Hugo. So there's Hugo. Oh, he's coming soon and on your screen. Hugo has served as a theater technician for 3 years, and he is committed to providing really the best experience for our theater renters. It is very common that we will receive post-event feedback about his wonderful service, and renters actually often request him specifically to tech their shows. So we are so grateful to have him as part of our team and to acknowledge his service to the city in this way. So congratulations, Hugo. And then secondly, on March 28th, members of the Community Resources team attended the California Parks and Recreation Society, which is also known for short as CPRS, District 9 Awards and Installation event. So CPRS provides education, networking, and resources opportunities for Parks and Rec professionals. And District 9 really serves its members throughout the Los Angeles County. So Hermosa Beach team members, Recreation Coordinator Cambria Vint and Recreation Leader Alexander Galvin were honored with awards of excellence at the event. And additionally, the president of CPRS, the entire California Parks and Rec Society, installed the new District 9 board. Senior Rec Supervisor Brian Sousa will serve as president-elect, and our very own Nick Shattuck is going to be the president of District 9 this coming year. So we are extremely proud of Brian and Nick for the work they have done to reach this level within the district. It has been a lot of work for each of them. And that concludes my Community Resources Manager report.
Any questions or comments about those items?
Yes, I did go down to the plaza and saw the new bike racks, and that's wonderful. Really need them. I sent an email to the Public Works Director, but I'm hoping that we could consider adding more bike racks in front of Noble Park. And if that means hopefully removing the sand and putting something in there to attach the racks to. But I do think that would be a great location because we have so many people that come down still playing volleyball, beach tennis, using the park. And that sand area just makes it really difficult for people to put their bikes in there. So I'm hoping that we could add on as many as 20 or 30 spots. But really excited about the new ones. Thank you very much, and congratulations to your staff.
Thank you,
Nice job,
Barbara.
Lisa.
Okay, I have a quick question about the Parks Master Plan, and so we're waiting for the next draft.
Correct.
So when approximately are they supposed to deliver that by?
Any day now.
Okay.
Any
okay.
day. Yeah, so we provided the final comments from myself and the Public Works Director, Joe Sanclementi,
Okay.
not last week, but the week before. So it literally is going to be any day now, and then we'll review it, make sure that all the edits that the internal working group supplied were made. And there were just simple corrections, too, that needed to be done, like maybe misspellings or still had draft watermarks and just really simple things they needed to address. So as soon as we make sure that those things are addressed, we will be reaching out to all of you to get a new date for the joint meeting and the Public Works Commission. We're really hopeful it could still be in May. I have some dates, some tentative dates that the council chambers are open, but we just didn't want to schedule it and then have to go back and reschedule it again until we knew that the plan was ready to go.
Right, that makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question about the Beach Cities Health District summer free summer fitness program. I can say that.
Yes.
Are they planning to do more in the summer, or are they just doing the May yoga?
Just the May yoga here, because they do it throughout the surrounding South Bay cities. So they kind of pick certain activities in each city. So they'll do it south of the pier here.
Okay. I have fond memories of Valley Park's
Oh, yes.
fitness program
Yes.
through them.
Yes.
And no, congrats to the staff. To Nick, will address as Mr. President from now
Thank
on.
you so much. I will relay the congrats.
Does he get a gavel?
Oh, yeah. He's really excited about the gavel.
I want a gavel.
Yeah, no,
Do you
it's
have a gavel?
the gavel.
You don't have a gavel. We need a gavel.
Anyway, it's very impressive.
Thank
And they
you.
have, Nick and Brian, I mean, that's impressive. And,
Yeah.
Cambria and Alexander, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're very, very proud
Yeah.
of the team.
We are going on to item 7. Pat, I'm just going to ask you a question. This is public comment. It's your time to come up and speak to the commission and tell us anything you want to say. Pat, does Kaylin need to read the instructions on public comment since no one is here?
No, Mr. Chair. For the record, no one is in attendance, therefore no public comment, general public comment, excuse me.
I'm sorry, do we have to really tell people that are watching there's nobody here?
To give Kaylin a break on the reading of the.
We do have one hand raised on Zoom right
Oh,
now for virtual.
We don't have virtual public
yeah.
comment.
Correct, yeah,
right.
the hand raise, we will go to that during
That's
the,
correct.
so the item 12A.
Right. So the person that's online, you can comment virtually on item 12, which is the capital improvement projects preview, but we're not there yet. All right, so item 8 is commissioner comments. Let me start to the left. Any commissioner comments? Let's start to the left, it goes faster. Let's go to the right. Nothing?
No.
All right.
I know you're surprised by that.
I have a question for Lisa. Presentations, the car show couldn't make it to do their presentation because one person's in Hawaii and the rest are in the desert, all right? Which I understand. Is there really any reason why these presentations could not be offered to them by Zoom? If they don't want to come, we'd still like to hear from them. Right?
Yes.
So
Now that we know that, we can offer that to them.
that way at least we'll hear from them and the people who do want to come can come. And, coming is better, but
Yeah.
anything is worth something.
Yeah.
All right, so no other commissioner comments? Wow. We're just consent calendar. Anyone want to poll any of the items on the consent calendar, which is March's agenda and 2 activity reports? Do we have a motion on the consent calendar?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Kaylin?
Chair Maroney,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Ellman,
Yes.
Commissioner Pizer-Maines,
Yes.
Commissioner Horowitz,
Yes.
Item 11, public hearings, we don't have any. Item 12, matters for commission consideration. That's back to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Chair Maroney. Kaylin, could you cue up the presentation? We will now be providing presentations along with our staff reports here, virtual presentations. All right, so this item is staff's recommendation to receive and file the status report of the current capital improvement projects known as CIPs that are related to the purview of the Commission and the Community Resources Department, and to provide input to City Council for consideration at its annual CIP study session, which is scheduled for next Thursday, April 18th. So I'd like to begin with an overview on what a CIP is and how a CIP is created. There's not a single definition to either or a single answer to either, but I'm going to do my best to kind of help the commission or remind the commission, because we've discussed this before, on how both of these things are done. A CIP is a project that's absorbed through the capital improvement program after consideration of if the project is above the general maintenance that could be performed throughout the year, if the project calls for the assistance of consultants, or if it calls for an assessment or a design. It looks at how much engineer involvement would be needed for the project, if it's a new facility or amenity, if it's a major repair or renovation. And overall, it really depends on the complexity of the project if it falls into the capital improvement program. They are usually of high cost. They usually take more than a year to complete. So how are these CIPs created? They can be created through a few different ways. It could be from request from city council, the community, or needs that are determined through the city departments, immediate needs, federal and state requirements, or through recommendations from master plans or assessments that may be completed, and of course with consideration of the current established projects. So next slide. The fiscal year 2023-2024 budget included 55 CIPs, and really a back-to-basics approach with a renewed focus on prioritizing deferred maintenance and safety projects. So attachment 2 of your staff report is the most recent capital improvement program status report for all of the CIPs in the capital improvement program as of March 18th, 2024. Our Public Works Department does produce this report once a month for the City Council, so it is always attached to the City Council's agenda once a month. And our Public Works Director also gives updates at the City Council meetings on the capital improvement program as well. So the dates in this schedule are tentative, and they are definitely subject to delay as a result of unplanned work or shifting priorities or other priorities that may be determined by the City Council. So since the adoption of the budget, 2 of these CIPs that were included in this fiscal year related to the purview of the Commission and the Department were completed, and that included CIP 669, which is the City Park restrooms and renovation, as well as CIP 549, which was the temporary beach access routes. Next slide. So annually in April, Commission receives a status report of current CIPs adopted in the budget that are related to the purview of the Commission and the Department. And this time also allows for an opportunity to provide input on these CIPs for Council's consideration at its annual Capital Improvement Program study session. This session provides an opportunity for Council and the community to discuss and provide feedback on any new or updated CIPs proposed for inclusion in the upcoming fiscal year. And it also assists staff in refining individual CIP scopes, funding allocations, identifying the priorities, and setting the CIP schedule based on staff capacity. So next slide. So now we are going to jump in to an update on the status of those CIPs that relate to the Commission and the Department. And I'm going to note some progress that's been made, some notable progress, really, that's been made on some of these CIPs since the time of our review last April. So we will go ahead and begin with CIP 502, which is the Greenbelt pedestrian trail. And this project removes wood chips and constructs an accessible trail composed of decomposed granite on the Greenbelt from Pier Avenue to 8th Street. So right now, staff has finalized the review of the 90% design plans and has provided comments to the consultant on those 90% design plans. So at this time last year, we were still awaiting design plans. So as a reminder to the Commission, this is something that we talked about last year, the design process can be very complex at times for certain projects. So staff will review designs at certain periods throughout the design process. So we may have 30% plans to review, and then we provide comments, and then those 30% plans will come back to us to make sure that our comments were addressed and to allow advancement to the next design phase, which could be 60%, and then we review that and so on. So there has been a fair amount of progress on this project, and it has remained a top priority. And I'm very excited to share, kind of get in some information first here before the CIP study session, that we are actually targeting going out to bid next month for this project. So very excited to share that with you all. The next one is CIP 503, and that is the City Park lighting conceptual design. And that's really an assessment of the light levels and lighting improvements that may be needed to city parks, and that's South Park, Clark Field, and Valley Park. So again, this is just an assessment. The construction would need to be a future CIP. This capital improvement project is merely the assessment. This is pending staff availability still at this point. Next is 538, and that is our citywide Parks Master Plan. So I did give an update already on that. I did just want to share that while we did have to reschedule our joint meeting, I'm really proud that despite unforeseen projects or events, we have been really able to keep this project on track for the most part. We are delayed by a month or two, but we are really near completion and excited to present that final draft within the next month or so. Next is CIP 603, and that's the South Park Slope Irrigation and Landscape Improvements. So this project's going to address irrigation and landscape needs throughout the playground and really the sloped areas of the park. So staff is currently reviewing the 90% design. We did complete a grant application for supplemental funding for this CIP. And right now, Public Works is reviewing the grant terms and conditions of that grant, just to make sure that we can adhere to the conditions of it to be able to accept funding. So this time last year, we were awaiting the design. So this is a project that also has progress similar to what I shared with the Greenbelt Pedestrian Trail project. Next is number 610, and this is the Fort Lots of Fun wall and gate improvements. And this is actually still pending staff availability at this point. I'm just making sure. Okay, so yeah, next slide. Okay, so then CIP 619, Kelly Courts improvements. This project will resurface and reconfigure the city's pickleball courts at Clark Field, and will have improvements made to the adjacent tennis court and basketball courts to provide a brand new Clark facility of those three court areas. So the consultant is updating the conceptual plans and providing a cost estimate for construction. So we're very excited that we're at the end of the design phase here. This time last year, we were awaiting the design. So to be near the end of the design phase, following a comprehensive design process is something to note. I was very closely involved in this design process, and this was one of the more complex ones. We saw quite a few different designs, so it's very exciting to be near the end of this process, this design phase, and get moving on the receiving the construction cost. And then we have CIP 689, our Clark Building renovations. So on February 27th of this year, City Council approved a motion to reject the bids for this project and directed staff to refine the project design and re-advertise the project. So we actually have reopened the Clark Building on an interim limited basis following the completion of a sewer line replacement and other necessary minor maintenance items that needed to be done in order to reopen the building on this interim basis. We anticipate rebidding the project by the end of this month. And really, there's no significant changes that are going to be made to the bid package, and we are excited to advance this project moving forward. And next is CIP 692, and that's the 14th Street Beach restroom improvements. And this project will consider construction of a new restroom facility. This project is pending staff availability. This is going to be more thoroughly discussed at the CIP study session next Thursday. So I don't have more information to share, but I know this will be an item that will be discussed in that report. So at the end of my report, I'm going to say the same thing, but I highly would recommend our commission interested in the capital improvement project and the capital improvement programs projects and their status to tune into that CIP study session. It is going to be very informative, and I know it's going to be a pretty lengthy report, but it's really going to dive into some of these projects that have been in this program for a while and that were at this stage last year. So that does conclude my status updates of the current CIPs. But before I turn it over to the commission for discussion, I just wanted to note a few things. First, that historically the commission's input to city council has really been sharing that priority list, which I do submit via a memo to the staff report for the study session. But I do want to note that the completion of the Greenbelt pedestrian trail and the Clark building renovations are already deemed the highest priority in the capital improvement program currently. So therefore, I just want us to recognize that the highest priority items are really two projects that pertain to the commission and the department. Additionally, I did want to note that the CIPs that remain on note for future years and that there is no funding available for at this time are the Clark Stadium bleachers, the community theater renovations, and the library community project phase 2. I know that in the past, the commission has listed the Clark Stadium bleachers as a priority project. And I wanted to note, through the work of the Parks Master Plan, there's going to be a lot of detail pertaining to Clark Field. I wish I could say more, but since I don't have a final draft yet, I can't get into it. But I just wanted to share my thoughts with the commission that the final plan should be reviewed before we dive into additional conversations regarding that unfunded CIP because of the fact that it's going to be addressed through the Parks Master Plan in detail. Lastly, I wanted to encourage the commission to watch the study session again next Thursday, as it will further help outline the schedule. And there's going to be modifications to the schedule that's before you tonight that will need to be made, and really to the program itself. The city team has been working really, really hard in preparation for this report, for this discussion, and I, again, think it's going to be very beneficial. And that does conclude my verbal.
All right, so let's bring it to the commission for questions, and then we'll need to open it up for public comment, assuming that someone is still there. And then we can have a discussion. So anyone have questions on any of these projects? You gonna start, Tracy? Yeah.
That was very thorough. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Of course.
You were talking about the Clark Stadium and how it would be rolled in most likely with the Parks Master Plan. Will any of these other items be included in the Parks Master Plan? And as I was listening to you, I was thinking about like park lighting and the Kelly courts. Would that be something that would be included in the Parks Master Plan?
Not in a way,
CIP.
not in a way that's going to affect the current projects at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely not. Especially the park lighting. There's obviously going to be pickleball discussed for the Parks Master Plan, but it's not going to affect the project that's in place.
Okay. Good to know. And then, forgive me that I don't know this, are the 14th Street bathrooms open?
They are open.
Okay. They're just needing...
There's been significant work done on them, but they are old. It's an older facility.
Yes, that I know.
Yeah. So, but they're open at all times.
That's good.
They've been closed here and there for some maintenance. I just wanted to note that because I think there was one weekend that they were closed. LA County did close them. So there was, it looked like they were closed again, but no, they are open for the public.
And then lastly, the Clark building's been reopened. Does it have a kitchen?
No, the kitchen is
That's what I thought.
not,
Okay.
not available.
So all you people will know.
Who may be interested on a rental.
And then, I did have a question on the bids for the Clark building. You said there's no significant changes when you put it back out for an RFP. So what are we thinking is going to be different this time if the package is the same?
Right. That is another reason I would recommend tuning into the study session, because significant changes, when I say that you and I would see if we were to see the design of the building. There's no significant visible changes, but Public Works, being Public Works, was able to make some other changes that may result in a different response to the bid. So they're going to get into more detail on those changes, but nothing that pertains to really the design that the subcommittee worked on us with.
So the design is pretty
Is withheld,
consistent.
yes.
The scope of work is what's changing, and so then
Yes.
it will hopefully encourage different bids coming back.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's it for me for now.
Yanni? Nothing. Barbara?
Thank you. A few questions. I thought I heard at the city council meeting on Tuesday, are we charging for the Clark Building?
We are charging for the Clark Building for those, it's complicated answer. There were some organizations that never were charged for use of the Clark Building, and those were like the Garden Club and the Women's Club. That was an agreement in place for over a decade, which you know as being on the Clark Building subcommittee. But though other renters would be charged as they would have in the past, yes. So it's only those that had that arrangement already in place.
Great. The bathroom on 13th Street, that CIP will be discussed next Thursday.
I highly anticipate it will be discussed in detail.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the Parks Master Plan, we're on budget,
Yes, we are.
and we're going to come in under budget? Is that where we are? I mean,
As of right now,
we're under budget.
That's how it's looking. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. I had another question. I'm going to reserve my right to come back because I can't find one of my questions.
Lauren?
Let me see what I've got here. Okay, so for the Kelly Court improvements, what are the improvements that we're making that are included for the tennis court and the basketball court?
Restriping and resurfacing as needed. It could be possibly too that we do some, I think we were trying to look into maybe like changing the color scheme to there and making it more unified throughout each of the areas, the tennis, pickleball, and basketball court. And it will just really refreshing the entire facility.
Oh, like turquoise and oranges and different colors.
With the branding colors,
yeah,
maybe.
right.
You know, maybe having more
yeah.
distinct branding, you know, throughout.
Right.
So my question, that's the question that she stole.
Yeah.
What's changed about those two pickleball courts that have been closed for the last time? Because we know we needed more space.
Yeah, so there's definitely going to have to be some movement of gates and some restriping, and I think we've got to a place. I haven't seen the final design, so it's hard for me to say. I think we got to a place where we're not going to have to move any lights or anything. We were able just to move some fencing out to allow for more space on the courts. And it's my understanding that the basketball court's not a high school or college size right now. It's kind of an in-between. So we're going to put it at, I believe it's the high school size of a basketball court, which allows for more room as well.
Okay, thanks.
Lauren, you have anything else?
Let's see. So this should probably be obvious, but all of the CIPs park-related for 2023 through 24, have those all been fully funded?
So this is a kind of a complicated answer.
Okay.
When we create a CIP, Public Works analyzes and provides the most educated cost estimate that they believe the CIP will cost. But sometimes it could come in under budget and sometimes it can come in over budget. If it comes in over budget, then that over budget amount is not necessarily funded for, and then that's when we have to look into additional revenue sources, whether there's funding in other CIPs, funding in the general fund.
Yeah, because for the Greenbelt pedestrian trail, is that now over the original budget?
I can't say really,
Okay.
but that could
I'm just
be
wondering,
something
and-
that could be asked at the study
Okay.
session, because
Yeah,
I'm not sure about it. I haven't heard that there's any concern with
Okay,
that budget.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my question would be then, is that going to put some sort of a hold?
No,
you're
we're at
making
the point where,
progress and then, okay.
Because we're going out to
Okay.
bid next month. So there's no, so we
There's not
have it,
gonna- okay.
Public Works has a strong grasp of the budget to be able to go out to bid. Obviously, it depends on what bids we receive, though.
True.
Like example, what happened with Clark Building, we had that number the amount that we expected to see in the bids, and it exceeded that amount. So that's why we're at the point where we have to go back out to bid. So hopefully that won't be the case with the Greenbelt project, but that's the part that is unknown at this time.
Okay, okay.
So the funding's there for what we estimate it would be.
Okay, very good. And then, so these are all the park-related bids? Because I know that there was also something, a while ago, I was looking through all the CIPs, and it's kind of dizzying, but there's also a CIP for roof repair, and that included the lawn bowling building?
Yes, so that is still a current CIP, but we have determined that the lawn bowling club needs an assessment of the building before we put a new roof on it.
Okay.
We can't just put a new roof on it without having that assessment, because we need to make sure that the structure holding up the roof is sound enough to do so. So it really depends on what comes from that assessment, if we will be able to include the lawn bowling in that CIP, because it will depend on how much it would cost ultimately. But yes, if that assessment comes back and we're able to, it's not what we think, and the structure supporting the roof is sound, then we can move forward with that in that CIP.
Okay. And I don't want to get too much into the Parks Master Plan, but I was just curious if in some way the lawn bowling is included then in the...
That I can't speak to, because I needed more clarification on
Okay.
myself in reading the recommendation on exactly what the recommendation
Okay.
may be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I've got a,
My question that was on my list, but I couldn't find it, goes to the city attorney. Where are we with the lawsuit on the bathrooms, since we were over budget with the bathrooms?
So that litigation is ongoing. Because of that, it's kind of hard for me to delve too much into the specifics.
But we're working on, this is.
Correct, yes, that
a
is,
heartfelt effort to get our money back.
it is
Some of
an,
the money.
it is an active lawsuit that the city is engaged in and vigorously defending itself, yes.
Okay, thank you.
pickleball, just so I'm clear, we anticipate now that we are going to put 2 courts in that space? Is that the design right now?
I haven't seen the final, but we're very hopeful that we will have the courts that we initially started with, the 4.
All right, we chatted about this morning, but CIP 111, which is the gateway and signs.
Yes.
That is anticipated to include a sign on the community center to replace what we had.
Yeah, on the corner of Pier and PCH.
And is that going to be electronic?
Yes.
Yes, all right. And the study session, what time next week?
It is at 6 p.m. I'm going to verify that, but that is typically when our study sessions and council meetings are. I'm just going to make sure nothing's different really quick here, but let's see. Yes, well, hold on. 6 p.m.
All right. And the green belt and the South Park slope, on your summary, they're both about at the same stage, 90% design.
Yeah.
And you told us what we expect to do with the green belt. Are we in a similar place where we can expect to ask for bids on South Park?
No, because the grant element is still being reviewed. There are some grant requirements in order to receive the funding that we need to make sure that we can adhere to.
All right. So now we're going to open this up for public comment. There's nobody present in the room. So, Kaylin, is there anybody online that wishes to make public comment?
We don't have any attendees.
All right. So we will close public comment. We will bring it back to the commission to have a discussion on these projects. And I guess part of the discussion, although you've made clear what the city's priorities are with respect to these projects, part of the discussion is whether we have any input on prioritizing these other projects. So whoever wants to start. Is that a no one? All right. Well, I'll jump in then with a really short one. I totally accept the idea that the two projects that are pretty much ready to go are our priorities. We know we need to finish them. Of the projects that we don't have any staff on, my personal preference would be when it comes time that we find staff, that the 14th Street restroom of those three projects gets pushed to the top of those three. That's my personal preference. Anything? Any further comments?
No, I concur with you. I think as long as I've sat here, I've been prioritizing the 14th Street bathrooms to be improved. I'm going to say it again. It's probably the scariest place in Hermosa Beach and the most dilapidated, and it hasn't been touched or improved until the update you just gave us, Lisa. Thank you very much. So thank you for some improvement, but it's been in shambles for at least 47 years, as long as I can remember. And then I'm excited to hear that the bleachers at Clark Field are being rolled into the Parks Master Plan, and excited to see those get improved, hopefully sooner than later.
I'm ditto on the 13th Street bathrooms. I'm just going to say it that there are other ways to improve the bathroom by looking into a self-cleaning bathroom down there. The amount of use those bathrooms get, I just don't think that a regular, at least fixing those bathrooms would just be a waste of money. So I would like to see a concerted effort to change that bathroom completely. And right now, from the information that I've gotten, that a self-cleaning bathroom would be perfect down there. We wouldn't have to worry about staff going down there multiple times a day and getting phone calls. So I'm just going to put myself out there, and I'll bring my information to you so you can, I know we've discussed it in the past,
Yes.
but this is the perfect place for something like that. Thank you.
Well, I concur with that. These priorities, adding the 14th Street bathroom really makes sense, and we should prioritize that and get that moving. It's been too long.
Same. But no, I agree. It's common sense to see the projects that are closest to fruition past the finish line. I mean, that makes sense. And then try to allocate staff and resources to at least start the others. But yeah, I'd say bathrooms, the Greenbelt, accessibility path, and now I'm drawing a blank. Yeah.
The other priority one was the Clark. Is that what you're looking to say?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I feel like that
Yeah.
getting that out for RFP and starting that process over is important so that we can then have a completed building that everyone's used to being able to use.
Also, I do want to remind everyone that we haven't had a lot of complaints down at the pickleball courts, and I do have some serious and sincere concerns about opening up to 4 complete courts. That is another discussion I think we're going to have.
Yes.
And we're going to have to reach out to the players and the residents and have and do a really good job of advising everyone what the possibilities are.
And for future discussion, I really would like us to refocus on the theater and the theater renovation. We've kind of set it to the side, and we've missed opportunities for funding, getting funding from the state the last couple of years when there was funding available, because we didn't really have enough, we haven't moved forward our discussions far enough. So I would love to see us do some refocus on that and come up with some sort of a strategic plan for funding the renovation.
Yeah, I can say our senior rec supervisor, Brian Sousa, is constantly looking for funding sources. We're looking into other avenues of having nonprofits assist with grant applications. We have actually applied to several grants in the city and unfortunately haven't received any grant funding, but this is a project that certainly needs grant funding.
I'd like us to have more of a community discussion on it, or maybe, maybe we reactivate a subcommittee. But I think that we need to, help support what staff is doing.
Okay.
Well, then a quick follow-up on that. We're at the beginning stages of looking at all of the city municipal buildings. That wouldn't include the theater, that's still separate?
Yeah, the facilities CIP that's in here really does not focus on anything outside of the Civic Center here. So it's not considering the community center at this stage or the Kiwanis Club, Rotary Club, or Lawn Bowling Club. But we're hoping maybe through that CIP there'd be a way to get that assessment for the Kiwanis Club, Rotary, and Lawn Bowling Club that we really need to have done before we continue the work of the municipal lease policy as well, to be able to know what state those buildings are in and what the maintenance will be for those buildings and any CIP projects that would need to be created for the city to really take back on the oversight of those buildings more. So that's what we're hoping that might come from that facilities CIP for those 3 buildings. But yeah, it's not going to look at theater. We already have a theater needs
Right.
assessment, and we do know what we need. We just need the funding. We've done the community engagement piece. One of the things we're thinking in the Parks Master Plan when we're able to see that is where the community theater falls on the list of priorities before we re-engage a subcommittee, because we're probably going to have to create a few subcommittees from those recommendations to get some of those recommendations moving. So it really matters on where the community theater falls on the community's list of priorities.
Anything else? Do you have what you need from us, Lisa?
I do. I really heard that there's support for the 2 projects that are already deemed top priority, the Clark Building and the Greenbelt Pedestrian Trail, and that the third would be the 14th Street restrooms, and that was supported by all 5 commissioners. So I will definitely include that information in the memo that will be attached to the staff report for next Thursday.
All right.
And then other than that, all the motion would be was a receive and file if the commission has no further discussion.
All right. Someone want to make that motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we receive and file the fiscal year 2023-2024 capital improvement projects review.
I'll
Preview.
second.
Chair Maroney,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lang,
Yes.
Commissioner Elman,
Yes.
Commissioner Pizer-Maines,
Yes.
Commissioner Horowitz,
Yes.
Item 13 is future agenda items. There's none noted on the agenda. So we are moving to adjournment, unless someone wants to jump in and say something. No? Okay.
Quiet evening.
We are going to adjourn this meeting until May, I'm not sure what date, but May 7th. That's it. Thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you, commissioners.